What made the PlayStation 2 the #1 selling gaming console of all time? First, we have to go back and look at the PlayStation 1. The PlayStation 1 was released on December 3rd, 1994 in Japan, and during that time period, it provided games that we hadn't seen on gaming consoles before. The PlayStation 1 used CDs for their games. CDs allowed for more memory, thus enabling developers to put more content into their games. So more video cutscenes, great music tracks, and voice acting. And this would be the early beginnings of PlayStation Studio. PlayStation allowed us to play games that were different from Sega and Nintendo, and some of those games were our favorite cartoons. Games like Spider-Man, Digimon Rumble Arena, Beyblade, Looney Tunes Racing, Crash Bandicoot, and one of my all-time favorites, Spyro. But they also had games for a more mature audience, like Resident Evil, Tomb Raider, Metal Gear Solid, and Silent Hill. You could also put regular music CDs in a PlayStation and play music through your TV, and it gave you some cool visuals that you could play around with. But like with all technology, it eventually has to evolve, and the PlayStation evolved into the PlayStation 2. Now there's 3 reasons why the PlayStation 2 is the #1 selling gaming console of all time. Reason number 1 was the ability to play DVDs. A gaming system that could play DVDs was unheard of, and it was a major incentive compared to the GameCube and Xbox, especially during the 2000s. Now, not only kids can interact with it, but anyone in the household can interact with the PlayStation 2 if they wanted to watch a DVD. Reason number 2 is backwards compatibility. With the PlayStation 2, you could play your old PS1 games. So if there was a PS1 game that you wanted to play, you didn't have to set up the PlayStation 1 just to play it. GameCube couldn't do this because they used CDs, and its predecessor, the Nintendo 64, used cartridges. So if you wanted to play those games, you would have to set up the Nintendo 64, and who really wants to go through with that? So this was another major incentive for the PlayStation 2. And reason number 3 are the video games that came out for the system. The PlayStation 2 took it further, with video games being more cinematic and just more fun to play. And this system had so many great exclusives. Exclusives like God of War, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Kingdom Hearts, Shadow of the Colossus, and my all-time favorite, Sly Cooper. Personally, I love the stage in Sly Cooper where you had to verse Miss Ruby and you had to time your button presses with the beat, which made it fun. A lot of these games had great storylines, and it was a different experience from past video games. But nonetheless, there were more great exclusives released for the PlayStation 2, and a lot of them haven't been remade. Hopefully Sony will do that with the PlayStation 5. But those 3 features made the PlayStation 2 the #1 selling gaming console of all time. But there is another console that's coming close to take that throne, and that console is the Nintendo Switch. Right now, it's 3rd all time on the list, and the system is still going strong. Being able to use your console as a portable and home console was an ingenious idea by Nintendo. And to be able to take off the Joy-Cons and use them as extra controllers is also cool. Now, even though it's almost been 7 years since the Switch has been released, Nintendo still keeps on coming out with great games that visually look amazing. And they're giving you a way to play old titles as well. Now I know everyone wants a new Switch, but Nintendo is smart enough to try to maximize sales with this console, and I can't be mad at them, as they should. And if they keep coming out with great games, they can certainly do that, and eventually they might surpass the PlayStation 2 in sales, but we'll see. You can even see the influence the Switch has over other portable consoles. Consoles like the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and the Lenovo Legion Go. Now from looking at the Switch and the PlayStation 2, we can learn that there are 2 factors that make a top-selling gaming console. Factor number 1, the console needs to have a great gaming library, and factor number 2, the console needs to have a useful feature that is beneficial. For the Switch, it's the hybrid system, and for the PlayStation 2, it was having a DVD player. When you buy a gaming console, you don't buy it because of how powerful it is. You buy it because that console has a great gaming library, and there's some games that you want to play on that console. And at the same time, that console might have a feature that other consoles don't offer. But overall, when you think about the PlayStation 2, its legacy is that it's the console that changed gaming forever.